welcome back to Truth Quest. My name is Erin Moriarty. I will be your host, and we're going on a quest for truth together. Thank you for joining me. Now, I just wanted to talk about how I kind of got into all this stuff. Now, I always sort of thought this was an interesting subject, the whole UFO alien thing, but I never really believed any of it. In fact, I had a friend tell me back when I was in high school that he saw something, and I completely did not believe the guy. He was a little older than me. But then in 1996, while traveling from Wisconsin to Minnesota, going through Chippewa Falls, about 3 in the afternoon, 1996, summertime, I witnessed a silver disc. It was about, that big at arm's length. It was zipping back and forth in the sky and stopping. And I saw this thing as I was driving, and I stopped my car. I got out of it. I was on, it's a county road highway. 29, I think, is the highway. And I got out of the car. I'm looking up at this thing, and I can't believe it. I can't believe what it's doing. It's darting back and forth and stopping. And it's not tilting like if it was a balloon, it'd be like wobbly. This thing was precise in its movement, and it was clear day. It was daylight time, like I said, about 3 in the afternoon. And so I thought, oh, I got my Sony camcorder. So I reached into my car, I grabbed the thing, and I put it up, and I clicked the button, the thumb button, and it powered up, and then it powered down. And it never took a charge after that. Did not even get one single frame. And then that thing just zipped, like faster than a bullet going out of a gun. It was gone. And it was freaky. Totally freaky, but from that moment on, no one could tell me that there is no such thing as a flying saucer. Yes, folks, I saw one, and it looked exactly like that, okay? Exactly like that. Curiously, that model came out just after I saw that thing, and I had to get one. It was, actually I got two. So it's a great model kit, and it's built on the specs of, it's by testers. It's built on the specs provided by a very important gentleman who came forward to save his life initially, and then it wasn't so good for him, but he's a survivor, and I'm talking about the legendary Bob Lazar, who studied that craft, which was one of 9 different craft, at the S4 facility near Area 51 in Nevada. So that experience right there, friends, it put me on my quest, and the journey has been very varied along the way. I had a cable access show, the UFO show, and it was closed down, shall we say, by the local law enforcement people who didn't like hearing about this. There was a very large UFO sighting here back in the 50s up here in Door County, Wisconsin, and they didn't want anyone stirring that up. People, our show was a live call-in show, and people could call in. And we had a lot of people calling in. They didn't want to come on the show. They wanted to be anonymous because they were still worried about losing their job. This was back in the 50s. And this is a shame that people should be able to talk about something they saw that was amazing without fear of losing their job or being ridiculed by people. And it's very important to listen to people, and if they saw something, listen to them. Don't make instant judgments. It's the message, not the messenger, because the messenger is always going to be imperfect because we're all human. Listen to the message. If it resonates, go with it. Okay? But after seeing one of these things, friends, it just, more things seem possible when you've actually seen something that's not supposed to be there. By all accounts, according to the experts, the people on TV, so Bob Lazar, look him up. He did some videos early on, back when this all came out in the late 90s, and he did a video on exactly how the craft works, how it runs on by creating its own gravity field. It accesses and amplifies a gravity wave at the molecular level and expands that out to do amazing things as far as traveling goes through time and space. So Bob Lazar is incredible. He's a very credible man. His story has not changed. He just recently was on the Joe Rogan show, so you might want to check that out as well. But very credible person. He's not in this for any other reason. Initially to save his life, because he was going out bringing friends out to watch them test drive these things on Wednesdays, because he knew that was when they were doing this, because he was working there. They caught him, and he went public with the story to save his life. He feared for his life. So this is how serious this is. This is why it needs to come out, friends. No more secrecy. We don't need any more secrecy. We got enough of that. So I'm sure all of you have also seen something paranormal or something unexplainable has happened to you. It's an incredible feeling when something like this happens, but it does open your mind up to new possibilities. And when people don't understand, or maybe not, they don't believe some people's stories, it's probably because they haven't themselves seen something. So don't be too hard on people if they're unwilling to look at the data you are talking about or bringing up in conversation. Now, and we talked about Andrew Passaggio last time, and I think that his case is very, very interesting. He was child participant in Project Pegasus, which was a DARPA program, and his father worked for a Parsons Corporation. It was a defense contractor. He did a lot of work for the CIA, and now Andrew, he admits that this was a CIA operation, and he actually has a CIA handler. He's talked about his handler quite often. And so, I mean, if you want to talk about a guy who's honest, this guy, he's honest about everything. Now, he did see, when he was in the programs years ago, he saw Dr. Greer. And back then, decades ago, Dr. Greer was CIA. So, now, don't get me wrong, Dr. Greer has done some great things. The Disclosure Project, his CSETI stuff, but is he completely honest? Wouldn't he acknowledge that? Yes, I was part of the CIA, still kind of am, and would give him a lot more credibility, if you ask me. I'm just a country doctor. That doesn't fly. He was CIA, if you're CIA once, you're probably going to be Clowns in America more often. But we need to open up the floodgates now. There are some patents that are being released, that have been released by the Navy. Great patents, 3 of them altogether, anti-gravity, zero-point energy, and what's the other one? Wormholes. So Salvador Payas is the author of these 3 patents through the Navy, and he's not given much chance to talk to the public. He's given like 1 statement on it, and it's very thin. And, but if you translate his name, supposedly it comes out to Savior of Our Nation, according to David Wilcock. I don't know about that. We'll have to see. I want to talk also, in addition to Andrew Passaggio, I want to talk about Corey Goode. Corey Goode is, by his testimony, Secret Space Program insider whistleblower. And also he is spokesperson for 6th to 9th density beings in the Sphere Being Alliance. It's a pretty spectacular set of assertions that one would make. But again, he was outed, and he came forward again to kind of save his skin. And if you think about, it's been 51 years since the moon, then it would make sense that we'd be out. I mean, when I was a kid, we had nuclear war drills, and it was very scary. But when Star Trek came out with Captain Kirk, it was very nice to see a vision of the future where, we didn't blow ourselves up. And we're all kind of getting along together. All the different types of people are on the deck of that ship, even an alien. So that was very hopeful to me and to a lot of other people, I think. But anyway, so getting back to, so Corey Goode, he did something. Now, he had a hit show with David Wilcock on Gaia, changed its name. Very popular show, and Corey comes across as a very honest man. I mean, his story includes very embarrassing things that if you're making up a story, you might not want to put really super embarrassing things in there. It doesn't make sense. But and also, he talked about a lighting fixture at this base that he didn't see where the lights were, but he saw the light, and he asked, where are the light fixtures? How are you doing your light here? And they said, well, we produce all of our light through sound waves. And so when I heard that, I looked on the internet, and I found a little company that's been around for a couple years, and they are doing work producing light using sound waves. Now, they're a few years away from the level of what Corey is talking about, but if there is a secret space program and they've been siphoning off all the smartest people through the brain drain to put into this off-planet venture, then they're going to accelerate much faster, and they're dealing with extraterrestrials, and they're way ahead of us, way ahead. It's not hard to imagine if we got to the moon from the first flight of the Wright brothers, Kitty Hawk, 66 years later on the moon. It's been 51 years since then, so it's not unusual to think if we are on the moon in 1969, by the year 2020, which it is now, we should be throughout at least our solar system in our 12-star cluster, but our 52-star cluster, I guess we are out and even further. So here's what happened. Now, Corey Goode and David had a very popular show, and Corey came out, and he's trying to get everybody together, and he's calling for unity in the community, because we all have our own UFO religions, he calls them, our belief systems, and we all have our own little lens that we see the world through, and every experience we have is another grain of sand that we grind into that lens, and we see everything through that lens, so everyone sees things differently. And he acknowledges that. He said, I don't have all the answers to everything, but let's put aside all of our differences and come together for the express reason of bringing out full disclosure, so we can find what the real truth is. Let's all come together, put aside our little differences of opinions, okay, flat earth, or particle physics, or whatever you want to, all aliens are friendly, no, there's some mean ones, you know, put it all aside, because we want the truth. We only have, think about it as a 32,000 piece puzzle, the UFO question and the alien question. We've only got 3/4 of one piece. We don't have much of the puzzle. So if we work all together, we could achieve more. And what happened when Corey Goode called for unity in the community? The first person ever in the truther community to call for unity. It was a beautiful thing. I thought, well, this is great. Now we're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to work together and do it smart and avoid the divide and conquer. What happened? Corey was attacked. He was attacked. Why was he attacked? By the truth community? Why? Who? I think it's fairly obvious. The attackers of the only person ever to ask for unity in the community, which was a beautiful thing, would help bring truth. The cabal's assets were activated. Yes, friends, the swamp needs to be drained in the UFO community. All the people who are on, held up as big experts, and they're not experiencers themselves, but somehow they're always kind of there. Who's paying their bill? Have you been in this business? Because, my radio show, I had over 100,000 downloads. I never made a nickel. It's not about that. It's about truth, bringing the truth out. But how can these people for decades sit there and they read a book or two? That's not going to cut it, okay? Who's paying them? Okay, Rockefellers? Yeah, the Rockefeller Initiative? Yeah, control? Yeah, divide and conquer. So when people say Corey Goode is lying, you know what? Does it matter? Even if he is, which I don't think he is. I think he's completely telling the truth. But even if he's lying, let's think about this. By now, we should have space colonies. So even if it is a bunch of hogwash, we want the truth. So let's work together. I mean, to attack him doesn't make any sense, and it shows you exactly who the shills are. And you know who you are. All the ones attacking Corey Goode. And some of the people who are following the attackers. It's really easy to get people to hate someone. It's not a good way to make friends. Be honest. Honesty is the best policy. And that's not honest, okay? So, all those people, you can, take a little checklist and say, okay, who is attacking Corey Goode? The only person ever to call for unity in the community, together, working for the truth. That's a beautiful thing. Nobody should have anything to say about that. And I saw a panel at one of these conferences. It was a video of a panel. And Corey Goode was up there, along with William Tompkins, American hero. And one of these shills, I think you know who I'm talking about, is just lambasting him. And it was really nasty. So be careful who you follow, because they're owned, all right? So I'm calling for unity in the community. Someone attacks me, guess what? It's on them. They're pointing a big finger of hate at themselves. And I'm just looking for the truth. I want the truth. I'm looking for the truth. I want the truth. Okay? And together we'll find it. We can dig, we dig like the Anons. We can dig like crazy. We can find the truth. Okay? So Andy Passaggio, let's get back to him. So Corey, thank you for doing what you're doing. We understand the pressure you're under from all these attacks. It's terrible. It's horrible. I wish you all the success in the world, and I'm looking forward to your comic coming out. It's a great idea, and I'm really looking forward to it. And now back to Andrew Passaggio. Andrew Passaggio, of course, was a child participant in Project Pegasus. He was the youngest of 5. One day, when he was like 6, his dad said, "Hey, Andy, you want to go to the hardware store?" "Sure, Dad." But they didn't go to the hardware store. They went to an Air Force base there in New Jersey, where they lived. And it was Building 68, and there were 2 kind of booms coming up about 6 or 8 feet out of the ground, curved like parentheses. And this was 1968, and there was a man on a little computer next to this apparatus coming up out of the ground. And when he activated it, there was like a TV roster, like energy field between these things, like almost like an electronic waterfall, sort of. That's how he described it. So he took his son's hand, and they ran through this field of energy. Okay, and now keep in mind they're in New Jersey, Morris Plains, New Jersey. They jump through this energy field. They find themselves in an oblique, triangle-shaped tunnel. And Andy said it was like felt like you're going 100 miles an hour, but you're standing still. After about 3 or 4 seconds, they found footfall at the state capitol grounds of Santa Fe, New Mexico. From New Jersey to New Mexico in less than 10 seconds. And that was 1968. They've had this technology. We need this technology. We really need it. 25-lane highways? No, we need this technology. This could do a lot. Could help us in a lot of ways. The Chronovisor could help us in a lot of ways. And we're going to talk about that in our next episode. The Chronovisor, it could revolutionize our criminal justice system. They could solve any crime. They could look into the past and find out exactly who did what and when, and all of their planning. So you'd solve every crime with this thing. So we need to bring this stuff out. And with the Chronovisor, you could visit past events. So you could go to a science museum and see a past event like the Declaration of Independence being signed or any other historical event. You could see it really happening. And so the Chronovisor would be awesome. Now we're going to get into our next episode. We'll talk about William Tompkins and his amazing trip into space with that Nordic secretary who was really a Nordic officer of the Nordic Navy. Very bizarre story and great book. Look it up. You'll be very happy that you did. I also have a theory about William Tompkins that I will share with you on our next episode. So thank you for joining me again on Truth Quest. I appreciate every like and every share and every comment. Please comment below. Subscribe if you'd like. It's my little toy company, Hot Games and Puzzles YouTube page. Thank you for joining me once again. Please like and share, and thank you very much. And check out my t-shirt shops and mugs and things with cool graphics like this. And we'll see you next time out on the web. Peace in.